All right, everyone, welcome to Pure Hollywood. I am with award-winning actor, acted in dozens of movies, professional comedian, award-winning writer as well. He is the Sultan of Sarcasm, God's Smart Aleck, or as I like to call him, God's Accident. You can follow him on Twitter at ActorComment, also michaeljoyner.com. All the good stuff is there. Michael, how you doing, man?
Great, man. How you doing, Ben?
Yeah, I'm doing all right. You know, living in LA is always a little bit stressful. How's Kansas City going?
Not as stressful. We don't have the 405, but we got plenty of hillbillies.
Yeah, it's kind of like middle America's Hawaii. It's like Kansas City.
I love it here, though. I'm doing good.
Good, man. Good, man. Well, for anyone that does not know Michael Joyner, obviously now they know what you do, but give us a little bit about what you are, what you're about, all that good stuff.
Well, it's hard to say whether I'm an actor first or comedian first. I started my acting from my comedy career. So I'm a film and TV actor, as you know. We've worked together and stuff. Mm-hmm. Stand-up comedian for 25 years. I work clean. I started in the church, but I'm not a Christian comedian. I'm a comedian who happens to be Christian.
There's a difference. There's a difference.
Same with my acting, okay? I don't want to get pigeonholed into that. And I'm also a filmmaker, I guess. I'm writing my own scripts, working with someone else, writing my own scripts, and going to direct and produce them. And as you know, producing probably the toughest part of filmmaking. But once you finally, get into it and break that wall and get those investors, it becomes a little easier.
Yeah, it's nice when you can do your own thing because, I mean, as you know, because you've, worked in LA, worked all over the place, Christian community, secular community, all that good stuff. It's nice when you get to choose your own work and design it yourself. It's something you're passionate about. I absolutely love that, and I can't wait to see the stuff you come out with.
Thanks,
and I do want to ask you a little bit about that, too, because you do perform a lot because you are a clean comedian, and you've been in a lot of Christian movies. But specifically when it comes to comedy, because of all the crazy stuff going on with PC culture, how tough is that to balance like the Christian community that follows you? Because there's some hot buttons with the Christian community that they're like, that I'm not okay with that kind of language or that kind of comment. How hard is making content that is actually clean and Christian, and is that more difficult than trying to be a comedian now in the PC culture where everyone is outraged about everything?
Oh my gosh, yeah. Well, I mean, I can go on and on on that subject, but here's the thing. It's really not, there's so much stuff out there. There's so much stuff that practically writes itself, and not even taking away all the crazy stuff in the news. I mean, eventually a comedian trains their mind to see stuff, and then I could almost see stuff and write at least a general punchline, something that has potential to be funny that day, and then I just work on it and make it and perfect it. And you got to put it in your routine. Where does it go? But as you know, you just got married, so there's something every day. Something every day. And that's not a put down on my wife. Oftentimes it's something I do. It's just the funny stuff of marriage. And so there's that. There's fast food drive-through. There's the way people drive. There's Facebook. Oh, my gosh. The crazy things of Facebook and Twitter. So there's an endless amount of stuff. And to be honest, some of the best comedians in the world, Jim Gaffigan, Brian Regan, Jerry Seinfeld, are clean. And I think they're more clever because a lot of times the people who aren't clean, some of them are funny. Chris Rock is funny regardless, but a lot of people, their joke hinges on a cuss word or a penis joke. I hope I can say that. And that's really not funny. You take out the shock, you don't have a joke, So I
always said like the best comedy is intelligent comedy, making a great observation about something. But I feel like now that is stifled. Like even people like Jerry Seinfeld's refusing to go to college campuses because he's like, they can't take a joke. Is that can comedy recover from that?
Man, I hope so, because that's the one you need to not touch comedians. We take a setup and we exaggerate it. Mm-hmm. And there's some things that don't need to be exaggerated. And talking about liberals. Yeah, I am.
Oh, feel free. Feel free.
That's what I'm talking about. Liberalism and liberals and the crazy stuff, the backwardsness of it all. Oh, my gosh. Talk about swallowing a gnat and choking on a camel. I mean, that's so, I mean, there's stuff that hardly writes. I mean, that writes itself. I can't not notice it. I have a joke, for instance, that I do only in clubs. Can I get a little edgy here?
Oh, feel free.
Okay. It's based on a true story, Ben. And I've done it in clubs, and people every denomination or whatever, they laugh at it. But when they find out that it might come from a conservative point of view, then they're a little bit offended that, well, maybe he really meant that joke. Here's how the joke goes, based on a true story. Went to I'll just tell you the joke. I went to my high school reunion not too long ago, and there was a girl named Michelle, used to be named Michael. Yeah. Got the operation, cut it off, shows up at their high school reunion with no penis. I almost stayed home because I didn't have a nice shirt. So that's the joke. And, and it's hilarious because when that happened, and it did happen, and I changed the names, I said, I'm a comedian. I have to notice this, and I have to say how it makes me feel. And the truth was, I almost did stay home because I didn't have a nice shirt. But here's a person shows up with no woohoo, and they're fine. So what's the joke? The joke is obvious, but what's the lesson? Where's the shame anymore? Where's the shame? So when people start thinking about that joke, they go, wait a second, is he saying what I think he's saying? Then they don't want to laugh because I might be saying something. So
if an audience member laughs so they found some type of comedy and enjoyment in it, their friend over there can be like, wait, does he condone that? Does he believe that's wrong? And then all of a sudden it's like that social justice Gestapo is on you and you're being attacked because you laughed at a joke.
Oh yeah. And I mean, and here you have Jerry Seinfeld, who's not even a conservative, okay, necessarily, but he just wants to get a little, he's observational like me, and he notices stuff. He wants to be able to mention, for instance, the big subject, cross-dressing or men using women's bathrooms. He wants to be able to talk about that, how it makes him feel, but he can't even mention it. You have comedians like, Norm Macdonald, who I think is the greatest comedian ever.
Fantastic, yeah.
Just a pure genius, and he's got to be very careful where he does his stuff. He don't care anymore, though.
I mean, you saw like Dave Chappelle got destroyed on SNL because he said, well, let's give the president a chance. For doing that, just for stepping outside the party line, he was like drugged through the mud.
It's a shame. It's a real shame. So that's why I have a comedy show I'm doing called Make America Laugh Again. Mm-hmm. I'm hoping that we can bring together all political beliefs and do the one thing we usually agree upon, what we can laugh at. Because like I said, Ben, I do that joke at clubs and everybody laughs. But if later on they find out I'm a conservative, they suddenly reconsider, should I have laughed at that? Mm-hmm. You know, maybe he meant that in a worse way than I thought. It's a joke. It's always a joke when you're a comedian, okay? To be honest, sometimes when you're a liberal comedian, it's not always a joke. They're the ones crossing lines, assuming everybody in the audience is pro-abortion, pro-this, pro-that, anti-Trump, and yet they can say their stuff and get away with it, stuff that really isn't even funny. It's just a political statement, yet it's really the people who want to speak the truth about crazy stuff who are the ones who they try to shame us, you know?
Yeah, and I really wanted to ask you specifically about this later, but I just want to get into it on topic. But what I want to talk to a comedian like yourself who's been in it for years, gone all across the country, and then there was the big stir, obviously, with Kathy Griffin when she held up the head of Trump, and she got some backlash. Now, as a comedian, what was your perspective on that?
First of all, Kathy Griffin is not funny. That's one thing liberals and conservatives all agree upon. She is not funny. How she ever gets booked anywhere is because she's got some celebrity status and they think, again, shock is funny. Mm-hmm. It's not. Obviously, she thought that was funny. Then she did that thing where they excuse it and act like, I didn't mean this. You meant exactly that, okay? We know what you meant. You wish the guy was dead and you wish someone chopped off his head. So now she's on, I don't know if you've noticed, you probably have. She's on that Charlie McCarthy doll, the Mortimer Snerd. Look up Mortimer Snerd with the red hair and freckles, and it's about that big. I don't know if the lady's not eating or whatever, but boy, I can say some stuff right now. I'm not going to say.
Yeah, we'll just let that line. But I thought that was just, there's going to be backlash, but stuff like that obviously make
just turn it around. And what if I did that with Obama?
You'd be over. Yeah. And so obviously there's consequences to everything, but like someone that's still alive portraying the person as dead in an ISIS style beheading is pretty awful. So that was my opinion of it. So I'm glad that we agreed on that. All right, if you like this video and others like it, please consider becoming a premium member to The Rebel. That way you'll have first access to Pure Hollywood and the entire Rebel lineup.